Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 12 mini and see which specific phone is the better one for you. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these phones, the links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell there are some key differences for sure. The iPhone 12 mini that came out back in 2020, basically for the most part, it was a pretty interesting phone. I don't think this iPhone was a bad phone. I just think the successor of this device was so much better. On the front, we had a 5.4-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and even if you look at it now, it's like not a bad panel. I think it still holds up fairly well. It's still high resolution for it being as small of a phone as it is. I think Apple did a pretty good job. You have the notch up top. You have, like I said, a pretty good display, great build quality, and overall the iPhone 12 mini, I think, still holds up very well, at least in a body standpoint. Now with the iPhone 14 Pro, we have a much bigger display. This is a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. Now what's really good about this specific display is that it is bigger and it's brighter and it has a 120 Hz panel as well. Now this dynamic island, I don't know, it's not really like the biggest thing in my opinion. Like it's not the reason you should go from a 12 mini or 12 to the iPhone 14 Pro. But it is really nice that we have this type of capability because this is a really good display. The dynamic island, I don't know, it's like whatever, it's cool, whatever. But I do like how we have a much better display on this phone, but it's also way more costier. Now, inside of the regular, like kind of for the rest of the body, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's interesting because they both kind of feel like the same thing. Not really. So they both have flat sides. That's really the only similar thing. They both have the volume buttons in the same spot. This black color of the iPhone 12 mini looks so good. I love this color, but this gold color is the best one on my iPhone 14 Pro. It looks amazing. Now, one other thing, the iPhone 14 Pro does not have a SIM card tray, which is very, very interesting. It's a bold move from Apple. The 12 mini does have a SIM card tray, so that's very interesting. And you might be able to see the SIM card tray because my 12 mini has a very, very cracked back on it. The 14 Pro, obviously brand new phone, so it's not going to have any issues. And you can just take a look at the camera sensors as well. Look at how much bigger the cameras are on the iPhone 12, on the iPhone 14 Pro than on the iPhone 12 mini. It's honestly very, very surprising. Now, you can probably tell how much bigger. It's probably like twice the size or like 1.5 times the size. It's pretty wild. Now, like I said, glass backs on both. We do have the frosted glass back on the iPhone 14 Pro, which feels and looks beautiful. I love this type of capability on this phone, and I just love how this phone it just feels so amazing. The 12 mini and the 14 Pro have 5G support, they have wireless charging, they have the MagSafe capability. The 14 Pro, we have crash detection, as well as emergency SOS satellite mode, which is really cool. Both of them have lightning ports at the bottom and speakers, and that kind of covers it up on the outside. As I mentioned before, both these phones are really, really good, and they both came at very interesting times, but I would probably say the 14 Pro is the better one for sure. Now, in terms of software and longevity, this is going to be a very interesting thing. The iPhone 12 mini is pretty much going to be lasting not as long as the iPhone 14 Pro. So that is something to keep in mind. If you wanted a longer lasting phone, the 14 Pro is definitely going to be the better way to go. This phone may end up lasting like 2 years less than the 14 Pro, but it may end up lasting maybe like a year less than the iPhone 14 because it shares the same chipset as the iPhone 13. Who knows? But I'm hoping the 12 mini lasts for a very long amount of time. But I guess we're going to see what happens. Now it's going to do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 14 Pro has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 GB of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. Let's go and clear the apps in the background, and they are cleared out. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing too. App Store 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini looked like it was faster there. Scrolling through, both are very smooth. The 14 Pro I think is a little bit smoother, but they are both very, very close, at least as far as I can tell. Mail 3, 2, 1. 14 Pro is faster. Notes 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we were on 2 different panels. News 3, 2, 1. Okay, 14 Pro I think slightly faster. Let's go into health 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the iPhone 14 Pro again has a faster one. Camera 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Let's go and just take a photo 3, 2, 1. Let's go and open up this photo. There we go. Let's go and get into photos here 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and get into some other apps. Let's go and try files 3, 2, 1. Okay, very, very interesting. Let's go and hop out of here. Stocks 3, 2, 1. Perfect. It's going to translate 3, 2, 1. We're getting very, very similar performance between both of these, which is actually very, very insane. Let's go into contacts 3, 2, 1. Almost every single application I've opened is faster or just the same on both. iTunes Store 3, 2, 1. See, I click on the application on here, but it still doesn't open up, which is so insane. I still don't know why that keeps happening. Fitness 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Feedback, or I guess I don't even have that application here. I was going to download some other applications, but it seems like for some reason I'm having internet problems today, but it's weird I was able to open up this one. So I will tell you when it comes down to it, both these phones do a really good job on both the softwares that they're on, which I'm really, really happy about. I think though, if we were to go ahead and buy one phone because of the performance, it'd be the 14 Pro, but I wouldn't go from the 14 Pro to the 12 mini or the 12 mini to the 14 Pro because of performance. There's tons of other reasons to consider upgrading, but the performance really isn't one of those things if I'm being honest. So that kind of covers it up in the performance segment. Now in the camera department, very, very big differences as I mentioned before. So with the iPhone 14 Pro, we have that triple camera setup, wide ultra-wide telephoto lens. With the 12 mini, we have that wide and ultra-wide sensor, which is nice. We also have a LiDAR sensor on the 14 Pro, 4K 60 on the front and the back of both these, which is really nice. Now the 12 mini's camera, I think, was really good for the size. I will say though, from what I've seen recently and what I've tested, the 12 cameras have seen noticeable upgrades. If you're going from a 12 to the 14s, you're going to be seeing really good camera upgrades. That's kind of the cutoff point that I was able to see. Otherwise, though, if you have a 13 or whatever, then it's going to be kind of the same. And even the 12 minis camera is still good. You have the photo mode, you have video mode, you have slow mode, you have time-lapse mode, you still have portrait mode as well. So this is still a very good camera. I think this is still a very good camera for the most part. I mean, you can still do everything you'd ever want. If you're trying to take like Snapchat photos or videos, then you're going to be perfectly fine as well. So I think this is a very solid option for those out there, and I think that is a really cool thing that you have the ability of doing so with that type of phone. On the iPhone 14 Pro, this is also probably the best camera you can buy nowadays, if I'm being honest. For a phone, it's one of the best. It may not be the best, but with this type of phone, you're getting, photo quality, which is awesome. You're also getting the ultra-wide sensor at 0.5x, which is really nice. You're getting 15x zoom versus the 5x zoom on the iPhone 12 mini. That right there is a massive upgrade as well. And that is another thing where I look at this phone and I'm just so happy about it, that we have that type of capability on this type of phone. And again, I look at that and I get just so happy about it because it's just so cool. So social media applications, everything are going to be better on this phone as well in the camera department. You also have, video mode with action mode. You have cinematic mode. You have so much stuff. Portrait mode is probably better now too. So there's a lot of good stuff with the iPhone 14 Pro that I'm really happy about. And when it comes down to it, as I mentioned before, I think the iPhone 14 Pro is like clearly the better phone in pretty much every single area. Getting better battery, better display, better build quality, dual eSIM, which that one had like dual SIM, which is nice. You also are getting just so much more capability, I would say, from the iPhone 14 Pro and a ProMotion display. Now with the iPhone 12 mini, I think this iPhone's still very good as well. Like, this is a very good iPhone for its size. I will say though, I'm not super happy or keen about that battery life. I feel like Apple could have done a little bit of a better job at that standpoint, but I think otherwise, this is a very good phone, and I'm very, very happy with this type of, the experience I've been getting from this phone as well. So in terms of that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.